Hello Grease Monkeys, welcome to the stream. It is round 6 of the infamous Gran Turismo World Series Manufacturers Cup. Today it is Watkins Glen. Track I haven't done all too often, but still one that can prove to be quite a test. I have no idea what the conditions of the race are tonight. 5 times fuel wear, 5 times tyre wear and 1 times fuel wear, so it's definitely a tyre race. Mediums and hard, I reckon we're going to start on the hard depending on how far back on the grid we are. Just makes sense to do that. I haven't done any laps on this track, I probably should have, but I kept forgetting to because I have a very busy life outside of YouTube. But yes, we have hards and mediums available, and we've seen in the past with a couple of different manufacturers' races that rain really does become a factor and can be quite a curveball in the race, because you don't know what lap you're meant to pit, and yeah, it gets quite technical. You can see it in practice, you can see a rough idea of where the dynamic is going to be for the race, but at the same time it's dynamic weather, so it's not always going to be the same. It can be, but it can also be different depending on where you are in the world. I believe that's true, don't quote me on that, but for where I am it's normally the same. But at the same time it's also dynamic weather. It can have patchy, it can have dry spots where it's a drying track. It could be pissing downward rain for the entire race and you only use dry tyres for 2 laps. Or it could be a completely dry race and there's a light drizzle towards the end. I'm actually going to have a quick look at the weather radar. I don't see anything on the map, but that can change. This is normally a dry track though, so I don't expect there to be much moisture in the air. And we can only see up to the current time at the track right now, not any further, so we'll just have to stick with what we can see. 148.4 for one of the people I'm friends with on PlayStation Network, and the fastest in the world at the moment is a 143.7. Okay, so that's 5 seconds, just under 5 seconds faster than that time. So what is the fastest car at the moment? It's the BRZ or the GTR pretty much. Oh no, sorry, the M6. So it's cars with a very high top end, very fast top end. Is the R8 on the leaderboard this week? I don't see that. Okay, well, I'm going to get some practice laps in anyway. I need to figure out what it is that I'm doing with this track and this car. So I'm going to unplug my mic and I'm just going to start chipping away. Enjoy the video. Went up to where it started. Spun twice. That first corner mistake there, that was just quite stupid. That just took way too much grip. So yeah, so what was it? That's the absolute Okay. We're really not doing well. Keep going deeper because I don't have accurate braking markers for this track, which is a problem. I don't drive this track and I've done this track in a road car elevated. That's what it's road car elevated, but that's it. That's really out here. Okay, so debrief after that. It was a little bit difficult to get to terms with the track to start off with. A lot of those corners are very, very patient, and you get on the gas a little bit early, and the car wants to step out very, very easily. It's mostly third gear corners, but there's only a couple of second gear corners, just because of the way that this car needs to be driven, which is a very high rev range, and pretty much revving the pistons until they shoot out into the atmosphere. But we set a couple of good times there, 147.5, which is about how far off we are from the pace of the fastest, which is a 143, and we're normally about between 2 and 5 seconds slower. So it's not the best time, but it's good for the first 7 laps of the day. Starting off with a 149.5, I'm not disappointed in those times, to be honest. It's actually some pretty consistent data. And we were going faster and faster, and we were finding time in more and more places. I reckon the best would have been a 147 flat, maybe. There's about half a tenth in it for the sector times there. But I believe the entry period is just about open, so I'm going to go and enter there, and we'll do a couple more laps in there, just so that we make sure we don't miss our race. I don't know exactly what the times are going to be for the rank that we are up against, because we are in the GT2 league, and normally we're in the top 3,000. Okay, so I don't think that was a very good lap time. For the first 5 laps though, not bad, but definitely time to find, and I know that just based on the way I was driving. But rather than do heaps of practice on the medium, I think I'm going to do a couple of laps on the hard, because I did make that mistake with Road Atlanta, and I ended up not knowing how to take the lines and how to drive the car, and it was just very unco. So I'm going to do a couple of laps with the hard so I know how to drive it, and then I'm going to do some, and that should help me find my line for when I go back to the mediums for the qualifier. So muck around on the hard for a bit, learn the tyre compound, learn how it affects the car and how it holds onto the track, find a couple of lines, try to adapt them to that tyre, and then with the medium, because we've already got a couple of laps on the medium and we kind of know how it behaves, when we come back on for the qualifier we should be alright, because we'll know the rough driving line that we're meant to be following anyway, and we will also be able to find more time being on a faster tyre. So am I on the hards at the moment? No. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to the hards so that I can get some practice on them. And then if we've got enough time, I'll do mediums in this session as well. But I'm going to unplug my mic again and just enjoy the sound of this V10, I guess. Okay, those weren't bad laps at all, actually. Getting to grips with the hard, it is a little bit slipperier and adjusting the brake lines, but managed to get some good laps out of it, actually. 148.718 is the fastest lap, which I don't think is too bad, given that that's only 1.2 off of our fastest lap on the medium. I also saw in the chat that Aussie Pug, you posted a VR walk around on my M6. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. I really like the liveries you're making. And a shout out too. I appreciate it, man. Shout out to Aussie Pug as well for making some top quality liveries for my vehicles in the garage. Currently rocking one at the moment for the Audi R8 with the New Zealand flag on the back window as you need to. Someone has changed to the 992 for their manufacturers. Well, there must be Porsche this season. Looks like the Porsche is quite strong on this track as well. I've seen a few Porsches in the leaderboards at the moment. We've got some quick people in this lobby as well, so we need to watch out for that. Now, we currently have 347 points. Highest in the lobby would be the 364, is it? No, 368. Yeah, so 368 here with Team Ayu. He's got the highest amount of points, which is 21 points in front of us. So not too bad. Now we are competing for 85 points only. I'm going to quickly change to the mediums before qualifying starts. I guess we're aiming for a low 147 in this. We're going to see what we can do because we're still getting used to the track, but we got a couple of good lines through that hard tyre session, and we were pretty consistent with it as well. We got one penalty, but it's mainly the last corner, or 1, 2, 3, fourth to last corner, a lot tighter than it looks. On the exit at that corner, you can only just go off the rumble strip, but it's very easy to do. And this bus stop chicane, I'm expecting this to cause a lot of mayhem on the first couple of laps, so I want to try and qualify pretty high. Not like super high, but definitely above the mid pack, just so that we can get a proper chance to get to the lead without going into the back of people. I'm just going to sit in the pit lane for a little bit and let everyone go so that we can give ourselves a little bit of a gap so I can properly go for it without being impeded by other people. Only a few people left, so I'm going to go now. We'll see how many people go in front of us as well. I'm expecting that white Porsche to go right at the last second. No? Okay, cool. Right, on the track, don't cross those pit lines. That would be catastrophic. Wouldn't even be able to get in one lap. Okay, so we are aiming for upper mid-pack for qualifying position, somewhere between 4th and 6th. Ideally somewhere on the... I'd much rather win and get pole position and I like those. Right, anyway, I'm going to run 5 more. Enjoy the V2, guys.